Hey there, YouTube. Okay, so happy Friday. I just wanted to come on and say a quick little hello. I just got back from getting gas and going to a couple grocery stores. Some good news, gas prices have gone slightly down a little bit here where I am. I remember somebody at the club that I dance at, somebody had mentioned that recently. And, you know, it's hard to have conversations in the club most of the time. You know, like the music and the distractions, and it's just kind of hard to carry on a conversation in a strip club, you know, I find. Sometimes harder than others, of course. So I didn't really get to ask them too many details or to like elaborate. It was just a very quick comment that they made, and I don't know, the music was probably on the louder side at that time, or as usual, I was probably just distracted and in a rush and probably going on stage just shortly after that. So I didn't really feel able to like ask them like, oh wait, oh really? Like, please elaborate. I just heard them mention it quickly, and then I don't know, something else, whatever happened after that to where we didn't really get to talk about it further. But it definitely stuck out in my mind. And this happened, I heard them say this just a couple days ago, I think. So I haven't really driven by gas stations or gotten gas since I heard them say that, but I did today. And I mean, I don't know, like it's gone, like technically it's gone down from where it was, but basically it went back down to closer to the range that it was when how the prices were when they first started to really go up a lot. So I forget when that was, probably a couple months ago at this point, but anyways, I don't know, they're definitely not like low by any means, or like what they used to be not that long ago. For a while, like over the winter and stuff, they were actually pretty decent. Like under $3, which I knew was too good to be true. I was like kind of like holding my breath and I like thinking like, how long is this really gonna last for, you know? And lo and behold, you know, it didn't last that long and they've gone up. But anyways, so I got gas today. I went to a couple grocery stores. Salmon is still on sale this week. So I got salmon yesterday. I got salmon again today. I'm so excited. I got my salmon, wearing my salmon colored top and everything. And yeah, I just got back I went to 2 grocery stores. The first one, I did a frozen yogurt mukbang with you guys, and I didn't talk for that entire video. So I'm back at the apartment that I stay at now. It is still pretty hot. It was in the higher 80s for temperature today. And then when I got out of the first grocery store that I went to where I had the frozen yogurt, the thermostat in my car at that point said like 90 degrees. So I'm really glad that I was able to go out and like have the frozen yogurt today. But I'm just gonna have this video right now, probably just try to be on the shorter side, because it's 6:30 right now, or about to be, so it's not nearly as hot as it was, but it's still pretty hot, you know, like it's very humid, very hot. So but it's like I just wanted to like come on quickly now just to like at least get to talk and say at least a little something, because for me, doing the frozen yogurt mukbang shortly before this and not really feeling able to talk or say anything, it was driving me nuts, you know, because I do like to talk to you guys. Like I really like to talk in my videos, and for me to feel unable to really talk or say anything, in a way it's nice because I can just take a little break from the talking, you know, temporarily. But it's also like kind of difficult because there's usually stuff that I want to say with you guys, you know, or just like share with you guys and stuff. So I didn't really feel able to talk for my frozen yogurt mukbang, primarily because it was so loud in there. The grocery store where I did that from, yeah, it was just really, really loud, and a lot of people, a lot of commotion. and I just didn't feel, you know, obviously I would have felt awkward trying to like shout over that. Meanwhile, while also trying to like have my frozen yogurt and enjoy the frozen yogurt. So yeah, I figured I would just not say anything for that video and just try to enjoy my frozen yogurt as best I could, which I did. It was really, really good. Oh, which reminds me, I also at that same store, I got a couple of other new things. So those frozen yogurt bars that I had earlier today, I've had frozen yogurt bars from that same brand before, but I don't think I had ever had that flavor before. I had the mango flavor today, and I'm pretty sure that was my first time having that flavor, which obviously, like, I didn't talk in that video, so I didn't get to say this, but I would rate those mango bars that I had in that video, I would rate them a 10. They were so good. I enjoyed them so much. I really, really love the Yasso brand of frozen yogurt. I love their stuff. I love frozen yogurt in general, but especially almost all the time, if I would get frozen yogurt, I would go with the Yasso brand because, yeah, I just really like their stuff a lot. But also, I got a few other new things at the store that I'm really excited to try with you guys in upcoming videos. I found this. I do a lot of protein bar reviews with Built Puff Bars, but I've never had any of their sour flavors before. The only time that I had ever seen the sour flavors from them before was in Walmart, and I actually did want to go to Walmart today, but I wasn't able to. I really wanted to go to Walmart today and DHS today, but in order for me to have gone to DHS, I would have pretty much had to go there like very, very early in the morning. And I just did a 50-hour work week at the club. I just did 5 10-hour shifts back to back, Sunday through Thursday night. So if I would have gone to DHS early this morning, I basically would have been doing so on no sleep after all that. So I was thinking about it, and that was actually my original plan. I was talking about that a lot in the video that I did from the club parking lot last night, when I was on a break during that shift that I did last night. So that was actually my plan, but you know, I just needed to sleep, obviously. Like, I don't know, I really, really need to get to DHS, like it's really stressing me out. I just don't know when or how I would be able to get there. Like, with the way that my schedule is, it just feels damn near impossible to try to figure out. Oh gosh, that's just really stressing me out. So anyways, I didn't get over there today, and I didn't go to Walmart either. Walmart both of those places are pretty far out, not far, but they're out of my way. They're closer to like the mall area and like the airport, and that's also where I go to the gym in that general area. So, I mean, ideally, I would have wanted to go to the gym today, go to Walmart, go to DHS, you know, but again, I just needed to sleep. So, but I was able to call my grandmother today. Today is her birthday, June 5th. So happy birthday to her. I really do love Geminis, and she's definitely one of my favorite people ever. Pretty much my favorite person, just about. I mean, especially in my family, I love her so much. Anyway, the only time that I had seen the sour flavors for the Built Puff Bars was in Walmart. I saw them there, I don't know, quite a few months back, but the only way that I saw them packaged at Walmart was in like the 4-pack boxes. And because I've never tried the sour version of their flavors before, I didn't want to get a 4-pack box, not knowing if I would like them or not. And also, they are really expensive, you know, for me. So today was the first time that I saw them being sold individually like this. So I saw this flavor, and I think they had a peach flavor, and they did have one other flavor as well. So if I like this one, I will probably try to also try their other flavors, the sour flavors that they have. And probably try to do those in a video with you guys. But for today, for my first time trying this bar, I wanted to go with the blue raspberry because I just remember when I was a kid, you know, my younger brother and I, we were allowed to eat a lot of junk food. We did have a lot of junk food growing up. which, you know, can have its ups and downs. I guess looking back now, I'm a little upset about it in some ways, but I guess it was also nice to just enjoy like being able to be a kid and not really worrying so much about like health and nutrition the way that, you know, adults oftentimes end up doing. So I don't know. It's no big deal, I guess, but we really did have a lot of junk food and a lot of candy. But when I was a kid, my favorite flavor of candy was always like blue raspberry. I've always loved the color blue. So I would always love like, yeah, blue candy, blue raspberry type stuff especially. So I figured I would go with this flavor to try. So I'm gonna save this for going into the club next week. So if I can find a time at the club, maybe I'll get to try this in a video with you guys at the club next week. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And I also got these Muscle Milk protein drinks. I got, these were each $3.50, by the way, which normally I would never, but I'm kind of trying to treat myself lately. I don't know. It's really frustrating trying to like always find the cheapest version of everything and like just always being so terrified to spend money on anything and like, I don't know. I'm trying to allow myself a little more leniency with my spending for, I don't know, just a little bit lately. Trying to find more of a balance. I don't know. It's the stuff that I like, especially when I'm trying to be healthier. It's like, yeah, it is really expensive, but everything is expensive these days, it seems, especially, I don't know, where I am. Like even the unhealthy stuff, even the junk food is expensive. It's just that the healthier stuff is usually more expensive, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, I got these Muscle Milk. They're called Pro 42 or whatever. They say they have 42 grams of protein. This is the cookies and cream, and this is the strawberries and cream. So for the ingredients, as far as like where the 42 grams is supposedly coming from in these drinks, the only ingredient that I see where the protein could be coming from in this is milk. So I am a bit skeptical as to whether or not they could actually manage to squeeze in 42 grams of protein using just milk, because it doesn't even say milk concentrate. It just says ultra filtered milk. And then all of the rest of the ingredients after that, it's basically just like stevia and cellulose gel, cellulose gum, natural flavor, sodium citrate, vitamin A, vitamin D3, but I'm not seeing any other ingredients where it looks like they would be a protein source. So basically they're trying to say that this has 42 grams of protein in this bottle just from milk alone, but it's only 14 fluid ounces of milk. So it's like, how is that possible? Like, I know that milk has protein, but I wouldn't think that 14 ounces of it would be able to have 42 grams of protein. Again, if this was like a milk concentrate or like a whey protein concentrate base, it would make more sense to me, but I'm just very skeptical as to whether or not these actually have 42 grams of protein just based on the regular milk alone. I don't know, but regardless, I figured I would just try them regardless because they sound yummy, and I'd like to think it might at least be possible for them to have that much protein, or I'm assuming they would have at least some protein, you know, so I don't know. So I'm also planning on hopefully trying to do a drink review for those drinks with you guys next week or sometime upcoming pretty soon. And then what else did I want to mention? Something that I'm really excited about, which is another very silly thing. I posted a picture here in my YouTube under the post section recently. I think I posted this, it was a couple of pictures. Well, technically 9 pictures, but out of the 9 pictures that I posted, the first 2 pictures of that were pictures that my dancer friend Taz had taken of me at the club. I think it was Tuesday night. So today is Friday. Again, happy Friday. Yeah, this was like a few days ago, earlier this week, or a few nights ago technically, but you know. I was on the balcony at the club, directly above the DJ booth, and I was doing a split on that area. There's like a little ledge up there, and I had years ago, I was saying how years ago I used to like lay down up there, like just being a weirdo like I am, you know? But I have, up until the other night when we did these pictures, I had never actually done a split on there before. I had for some reason just never thought to try it, but I thought to try it that night earlier this week. And yeah, there's a couple cool pictures that Taz and I were able to get of that, which I was super excited about. But another thing that I'm very excited about looking back at those pictures some more, I didn't realize this until just the other day. So yeah, that I'm pretty sure we took those pictures on Tuesday. So I liked the pictures right away, but something that I didn't notice until, I think I just noticed this for the first time yesterday actually. So it took me a few days after already seeing the pictures, posting the pictures. But last night at the club, I was looking back at those pictures again, and I noticed that in the background, you can see something that I've referred to in a lot of my videos before. There's like this little cubbyhole type ledge. It's in the background. It is showing in the background of the pictures. Out of the two pictures, it's technically showing in both of them, but it shows a lot, like pretty much the entire thing. It shows very visibly and very well, especially in the second picture. I've talked about this a lot because it is right next to the stage at the club that I dance at, and it's like this little cubby hole that's like in the wall. It's very difficult for me to try to describe it verbally without people being able to actually see it like you can in those pictures. But I have in quite a few videos before, I've tried to describe it, because what will happen is, I guess somehow a lot of times dollar bills will get stuck up there, and I'm a very weird, obviously just a very weird person. Little things like that just drive me nuts. If I see a dollar like within my reach, I need to be able to get it. You know what I mean? So where that is, it's not actually within my reach, or at least not very easily. In order for me to reach dollar bills that get stuck in there, I have talked a lot before in previous videos about how I will pretty much have to stand on bar stools at the end of a shift after, you know, the club is closed. I've tried in the past, like standing on bar stools and standing on the arms of chairs to try to reach up there and get the dollar bills that sometimes get stuck up there. And there have even been times, well, there was at least one time where I went out back of the club, like in the garage area, to get a ladder to do it. Which obviously the club staff did not appreciate, did not like. But there have been many various different ways that I have tried to, because I am pretty short, you know, so yeah, it is difficult for me to try to reach the dollar bills that get stuck up there, but there have been many various different ways that I've attempted to climb up there a little bit, or like reach up there to get the dollar bills. And I've always just really struggled with trying to describe what I'm talking about in my videos when I talk about this. And I guess I never really thought to take a picture of it before, but I just noticed, yeah, last night that it just so happened to be showing in these pictures where I was doing a split, kind of above or somewhat near that area. It was showing in those pictures in the background. So I don't know. I just wanted to mention that. I know it's like super ridiculous and like who cares, but for me, again, I was just like super excited to see that. Because now, like, anyone that's seen previous videos with me talking about that or like trying to describe it, if you look at those pictures, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's what she's talking about. That's what it is. So anyways. And then yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of other stuff that I would want to try to get into right now, but it's still pretty hot, and I have my salmon from the second store that I went to, so I just really want to like go shower and then have my salmon and stuff and just try to relax tonight. I'll probably take tomorrow off, I didn't work at the club today, you know, but I still went out and tried to do stuff. So tomorrow would probably be my only day this week of just like not going out and just trying to like take it easy and relax and stuff. And then, yeah, next week, I don't know, we'll see. It is supposed to be pretty hot next week, so try to brace myself for that. But yeah, sometimes it is nice on a hot day like today to just start my day off like that was basically my breakfast and my lunch, going to the store to have those frozen yogurt bars. And yeah, on a really hot day, sometimes that's nice to be able to do that. So there's still a couple flavors of not the bars like I had today, but like the little pints of frozen yogurt. There's still a couple flavors of that that I haven't tried from that same Yasso brand. And then there's also a bunch of other flavors of the bars like I had today that I haven't tried yet. Or there's at least a couple flavors I haven't tried yet, but either way, there's a ton of flavors that I haven't done on camera. So yeah, this summer I'll probably try to do more of that here and there just for fun, you know, or just to be able to come on quickly just to like do a quick little video with you guys. One other thing that I want to mention now, just because I was thinking about this lately, another thing that I noticed recently is that for a while, I mean, I've been doing videos for a little while now. I have at this point over 200 live streams. And for the longest time, I kind of just assumed that my videos did not have an AI summary added onto them, like some videos on YouTube apparently do. I kind of just always assumed that because my channel is pretty small, and just like a lot of the stuff that I talk about is like very just, I don't know, kind of weird to me, or just like probably weird to just about anybody. And I always like would get a kick out of trying to imagine how AI or anyone or anything else would try to describe like a video of mine. Like, how would you even do that? But recently I noticed apparently my videos do have an AI summary. I don't know if they always did all along and I just didn't notice it before, or if it's like a new thing, but apparently they do. And I noticed that recently, like maybe a couple weeks ago, but since I have noticed that, in the following weeks afterwards, I've already like forgotten about that. Like it's already like slipped my mind. So because I was thinking before, I only went to look at an AI summary of like one or two of my videos when I first noticed that a couple weeks ago. And then I was thinking to myself, oh, I really got to make a point to like look at more of my videos and read more of the summaries for other videos of mine to like get more of a feel for what they're like. And I was really kind of looking forward to doing that, but then I just like a lot of stuff, I just kind of forgot about it after that. But when I first noticed it a couple weeks ago, something that I was saying pretty much right away, something that came to mind for me is how if AI can do that for my videos, something that I kind of get a kick out of thinking about and would also really like to see be able to happen is if AI could do a montage of like clips of me, like basically like reaction clips when I have a reaction to like seeing a squirrel or just like stuff like that. And so I thought about that, yeah, pretty much right away after noticing that I have apparently AI summaries for my videos. But now I'm thinking a little further into it, now that I'm like reminded of it. Like again, I kind of forgot about that for a little while there, but now I'm remembering again. Now I'm remembering it again, and now that I am remembering it and thinking about it again, now I'm also kind of thinking like, well, if I really want that to happen, maybe what I would have to do is just literally make a quick separate little video just dedicated to me solely talking about that. Basically just like a video, like 5 or 10 minutes of me just sitting here just saying that over and over again, like, AI, I want a montage of clips of reactions of of me having reactions to seeing squirrels and me just kind of like saying that over and over and just like talking about it over and over. Because if I do a video where that's literally all the video talks about and like that's the only subject matter, then the AI summary for that video would pretty much have to be like addressing that, right? Like in this video by Stripper for President, she talks about how she wants me, aka AI Master Machine, to make a video montage of her squirrel clips, of her squirrel reaction moments, magical moments. So then the AI would have to recognize itself saying that and be like, maybe I should do that. So I'm sorry, I know this is ridiculous, but this is sometimes how my brain just works. And like, I really, really want, like, that's something that like fans do of like people online sometimes, right? They'll make special little gifs or like memes or clips of like certain internet personalities. I know my channel is like probably not big enough for anyone to bother to do that. But regardless, I want to think with AI, maybe I wouldn't need a person or a fan to do that. Maybe AI could just do it if it would just listen to me like it's apparently supposed to be doing. Like, AI, listen, I'm talking to you right now. I want a squirrel montage. I want a squirrel reaction montage already. ASAP. So that's been on my mind a lot lately. And just wanted to mention, and I mean, obviously this particular little video right now, I'm mentioning other things with that, but I literally might do that. I have to remember. I know that I'm going to forget, like I forget almost everything, but I'm going to really, really try to remember to later on, eventually, if this video posts okay, to go back to this video, see what the AI summary says, and see if the AI summary mentions anything about that, the squirrel stuff. And if it does, I'll be like, okay, so it at least was able to pick up on that. Eventually down the road, the sooner the better, I probably will. I'll probably try to make a quick little 5 or 10 minute video just saying that over and over about the squirrel montage, the squirrel reaction montage, and then just go from there and see what happens with it. Just out of curiosity, just to get a little kick. Just to try to make myself laugh and cheer myself up, because clearly this does make me laugh. And yeah, I've really been super stressed out lately, just especially with the DHS stuff. Like, you know, to have it be warm and summer right now is like heaven on earth, and this is just like too good to be true. But in a very literal way, it really is too good to be true, because it's so fleeting. And as much as I'm trying to enjoy this and appreciate this now while I can, and I am, but it's like, you know, it just makes me that much more hyper aware of winter just looming and just it's always coming back around, and it's just one of the very worst things in the world to me. Like, it really is. And I just fear and dread it so much all the time. I'm so sick of it. So, you know, yeah, I talk a lot about how I just went through the past 4 winters without having the heat on. And it's very weird for me, like on a day like today, to be too hot, you know? And it's like, I almost kind of feel like being too hot shouldn't even be allowed to be a thing for me. Like, it wouldn't even make sense, because it's usually just such the polar extreme opposite for me in this apartment that I stay at without the heat on, you know, for 4 winters, 4 years in a row like that. Like, it's just, and people have commented before, like, how it's illegal to not have heat on. It's not that the heat doesn't work. If I wanted to put the heat on, I could. It's just that the thermostat is broken. And so it'll rack up the heating bill way too much more than it already would be. Besides, with the thermostat being broken, I have to be really careful with that. Like, basically, I would have to go and shut the breaker panel off every time I leave the apartment, because otherwise the thermostat is broken to where if the breaker panel is on, the heat just won't shut off. It's hard to describe, but it's not just that the heat is off, it's that the entire breaker panel for the heat is off, because if it wasn't, again, the thermostat is broken to where, and you know, it just would be so wonky and be all over the place and rack the bills up. And even besides, I wouldn't be able to afford. It's just, I mean, that makes that was making the heating bills so much worse in the past when I first noticed that happening. Um, but even besides, it would be too expensive for me to afford either way, regardless. So, and yeah, I don't want to have anyone come in to fix the thermostat, because it's like I feel like I'm constantly surrounded by people, like at the club, and anytime that I dare to go out and leave this apartment and go out into public, it's like there's just people nonstop everywhere, and I just feel so anxious and unsafe and uncomfortable and self-conscious and just hyper vigilant, like I'm afraid of every little thing. Like, even somebody walking past me, I'm afraid that they're gonna, like, accidentally bump into me, like, or, like, hurt me, like, accidentally, but really on purpose, like, with the corner of this, like, pizza box they're holding, or, like, with the corner of their shopping cart, they're gonna, like, run over my foot, or, like, hit my ankle, or, like, bump, like, scratch my skin, or, like, I just always feel like people are trying to hurt me. Um, so, and it's like so easy with stuff like that to make it look like an accident, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm just like, I feel like I can't even trust a person to walk past me, like in a store. Like, it's just extreme anxiety, like 360 degrees, 24/7, just non-stop. Like, it's extreme. So, yeah, I mean, it's like I deal with that anytime that I'm in public, which is a lot usually. So when I'm here at the apartment that I'm at, it's like I don't want people to have to come in there to fix anything. If something's broken, I'll either fix it myself as best I can or just leave it broken. I need to finally have at least some time and space somewhat to myself. You know, however fleeting, however like bare minimum it might be. Like, even now, me doing this video, I was really debating coming on here to do this video right now, you know, because it is still pretty hot. But it's like, I'm really in no rush. The only reason I'm somewhat in a rush to go up there is because of my salmon that I just got. But other than that, I'm in no rush to go up there, because right before I left, I heard I wasn't hearing anything at first for once when I was getting ready to go out. And then as I was getting closer to being ready to leave the apartment and come out today, I heard the neighbor that's next door to me, like I heard their door like opening and closing and creaking, and the floors creaking, and it sounded like they were getting back from somewhere. And then I could just like feel them and hear them right there, like I normally do, like all the time. And I was just at that point so much more just anxious and ready to just leave and get out of there. Like, oh, I just hate that feeling so much. Like, so I know that when I go back in there now, it's going to be that same kind of feeling. However, earlier today, I didn't have the radio on like I normally would, because it was just really hot today. And again, it feels very weird for me to be too hot when I'm so used to being like way too freezing cold. So it was so hot today that I didn't really have like a normal kind of regular breakfast like I normally would. I basically just like, I was just so hot in there. I also don't put a fan or the air conditioner on in the summer. Like, so it's just too expensive, you know what I mean? So I just got up and put my laptop, locked all my stuff up in the fridge, which is shut off and unplugged to be used for a safe. You know, I put my clothes, my laptops, and my stuff in the fridge, locked it up with the electrical wire that I wrap around it, and just left. But I was hearing that person over there. So I was just trying to do that process so quickly. Normally, if I'm having like a breakfast or like a lunch or something before I leave, I will blast the radio as loud as I can to have some kind of background noise to drown out the person or the people that are constantly right there, right next to me on the other side of the wall, these strangers that I just don't want to be there. So, but today, again, I was in such a rush that I didn't have the radio on, so I was hearing them. And I was hearing them in a very hyper-vigilant way, like I normally would be. And so, yeah, I was just ready to just rush right out of there. And now I'm just I'm not really excited, or like I'm not looking forward to going back in there and having that same feeling of them just being right there all the time. But at least now, when I go back in there in a moment, I will blast the radio like I normally do. And a nice thing lately is I have switched the radio station to a classical music station, which, I mean, sometimes it's okay as far as the music, and other times it's like super annoying, like just very like obnoxious sounds that are almost like hurting my ears. But regardless, it's better than the radio station that I had it on before, because the radio station that I had it on before, it would play some good songs, but for the most part, it was just so repetitive and it was playing the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. And with the music and with the commercials, but the commercials were especially annoying because they were just the most obnoxious, abrasive commercials, like pretty much imaginable. And they would just play them again over and over and over on repeat, like the same stuff. So something that I've noticed with the classical music station, there's like no commercials, and or extremely like very, very few of them. I've maybe heard like one or two like almost commercials. They're not even like real commercials though. They're like basically advertising for like classical music concerts, or like how to support that radio station or something like that. Like they're not anything like regular commercial. Like there really aren't commercials on that station that I've heard, which I am so, so excited about. Like, and that's the main reason I'm leaving it on that radio station now. Cause like, I didn't even think there was such a thing as a radio station without commercials, but apparently this one there is. So I'm just like, yes, thank gosh. So I've been blasting that as loud as it will go every time that I'm there, almost just about. And that's what I plan on doing in a moment. So yeah, I mean, but with the DHS thing, I've just been super, super stressed, like, you know, trying to figure out a way, like how I'm going to be able to get over there, how I'm going to be able to like pull an all-nighter after doing like a 40 or 50-hour work week, and then trying to get there, you know, first thing in the morning when they open, like basically getting into the parking lot before they even open to try to be the first person in line, you know, to not have to wait all day, like, and waste a whole day of my life just like, you know, on something like that where I don't even know if it's going to work out or if I'm going to be able to get any help or assistance from them. I have no idea how that process would work, no idea how that might go, but I don't have very high hopes for it, you know what I mean? As hard as I'm trying to as hard as I'm trying to hold out some kind of hope for that, it's really hard. So yeah, I mean, I'm always stressed out about a lot of stuff, you know, but especially lately with that. And I'm trying not to beat myself up about not being able to get over there today. I especially wanted to get over there today because it's my grandmother's birthday. So I was like, maybe that would like, maybe in some way that would like help my cause or my case, like to go there on my grandmother's birthday. I don't know why. Obviously that probably wouldn't make a difference, but just like, because I love her so much, and like, I don't know, I just wanted to think like maybe it was like a significant day for me, like it is a significant day for me being her birthday. So, you know, I really needed to sleep. So yeah, that's been especially stressing me out lately. So as usual, I'm just trying to like cheer myself up with just like stupid random crap, whatever I can come up with, whatever I can think of, like squirrel montage or squirrel reaction montage. AI, you better be listening, like you apparently always are. Um, thumbnail? Screenshot thumbnail, maybe? I noticed I've had my hand or hands showing in a lot of my recent thumbnails. So I guess it's kind of like a trend or a theme that I'm like apparently going with lately. I don't know. But When I called my grandmother to wish her a happy birthday earlier today, my mom was there with her because my mom was living in Florida a few years ago. She moved down to Florida, like, without telling me back in, like, 2017, I think it was. And she, like, did that on the fly, like, sold her house. I still had a room there, like, I still had a lot of my old stuff there, and she just, like, that all just, like, disappeared, like, into thin air, apparently. She just left, didn't say anything to me, had her husband travel back up later on after the fact, after they had already moved, had her husband like, travel back up himself to, like, sell the house or, like, get rid of our stuff, sell our stuff. I have no idea exactly, but basically, yeah, she was in Florida from 2017 to, like, 2023 or 24, I think. And then kind of recently, a couple years ago, she moved back up to the area where I am. Well, it's actually not really the area where I am. It's definitely closer to where I am than Florida, but she's actually now in the same state as my grandmother, which is basically like the next state over from me. So it sounds like it's close by, but it's really not that close. It's still like a 3 or 4 hour drive, I'm pretty sure. So I still don't really get to see either of them in person. But yeah, my mom is living very close to where my grandmother is. And well, she basically moved back up here after my grandmother's husband passed away. So he passed away in 2023. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, April 24th of 2023. So she would have moved, my mom would have moved back up here shortly before that, I think. Yeah, probably like early 2023, I'm guessing. Anyway, she lives very close to my grandmother now, so she was over at my grandmother's condo when I called my gram earlier today, and my grandmother put me on speakerphone so that I could kind of like talk to them both. And my gram just, as usual, sounded so happy to hear from me, and just so nice and happy. And then my mom in the background just sounds so different, I hate to say this and I hate to think this, but it's like I can hear her hatred for me in her voice. I really can. But she says that she loves me. Like like she'll make a point to talk to me, kind of, and she'll say that she loves me. Like when you're getting off the phone with people sometimes, like to say goodbye, they'll be like, okay, goodbye, I love you, goodbye. Like we do that kind of thing on the phone and stuff. But I swear, it's like I can hear hatred in her voice for me. I really can. And it breaks my heart. It's so painful and confusing. And yeah, it's just so different. It feels like such a stark contrast to my grandmother's voice and how she sounds when I'm talking to her. I don't know. I think it's always going to be one of my greatest, not my greatest, but like my biggest life mysteries, or just like painful struggles that I'll never be able to understand. It's just like family stuff. Because once my grandmother's gone and it's just me and my mom like that, like, I really wonder if I'm still gonna bother to try to keep communication there. Because every time that there is communication there, it makes me feel so bad. Not always. Sometimes it's okay, but there's just something in her voice that And a lot of the stuff she does say and just the vibes, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes it's okay, but a lot of times I do just feel so crappy after talking to her. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with anything. I just know that I really gotta find a way to somehow get over to DHS, but it's like, damn. I just have no idea. And the thing is too, I was thinking about this. Even like best case scenario, if somehow, some way they did agree to approve me for heating assistance, I don't know how that would work as far as like when I go to try to like pay my electrical bill, because the way that the heating works at the apartment that I'm at, I'm pretty sure it it's like electric heat basically. So I'm assuming, as usual, it would be for me to like pay a heating bill, it would be the same thing as like paying my electric bill, I'm pretty sure. Like that's how it was before, back when I used to leave the heat on. It would just be like, it would just basically make my electrical bill higher. So I'm just trying to think, like, I just know I always struggle so much with like anything online or like paperwork or like anything that gets too like technical or like too much of a process. Like, I need things to be as simple as possible, very clear cut, like this, that, boom, you're done. Like, I can't have anything be too complicated or I just get so confused and overwhelmed. It just feels so beyond impossible for me to like navigate or figure out. Like, there's something wrong with my brain, like many things wrong with my brain probably, but especially when it comes to stuff like that. Like even if best case scenario I got approved for heating assistance, like I'm just trying to think like how would that factor into like the process or the way that I'm supposed to pay my bill? Because I always pay my electrical bill online, but it's like I'm just imagining it would make it so much more complicated. Like I can't really imagine how this would work, but I'm like trying to picture it and I'm just like, I just know that it would be like way too complicated, like paperwork and like stuff in the mail probably, or like forms to fill out, and like just I'm so bad with stuff like that. Like it just overwhelms me and confuses me so much. And I have no one to help me with it. I have no guidance. I have no where to go, no one to go with to help with anything. So it's like, it's very overwhelming. And yeah, I mean, I kind of can't help but to feel like my mom must hate me to have just left me alone like this, to just be faced with everything myself like this. Like, and I guess the only thing I can try to imagine is that was just her version of like tough love, of like me, of just like how it's supposed to be for me, like being an adult and like being able to stand on my own 2 feet as an adult and like figure out how to do things for myself. But if it was her way of trying to show tough love, I don't think it's been working very well. Like I've been in a pretty dire straits, pretty bad situation for a while. To not have heat on for 4 winters in a row, where I'm from, the winters are beyond brutal. Beyond brutal. Like it's been one of the most horrific, painful, terrifying thing. And it's like, I don't really have an income. You know what I mean? So it's like, what am I supposed to do? Me even trying to make an income as a stripper, it's basically just reliving sexual trauma over and over and over again and fighting off panic attacks every single moment that I'm there at the strip club. Me trying not to get seriously injured or like become a paraplegic every single time that I'm there. Even if I don't, that's going on the pole with like, you know, the paraplegic part, which is my passion. That's the part of it that I love to do. That's the part of it that actually does make me feel strong. That's the part of it that actually does make me feel capable. That's the part of it that actually does make me happy and proud of myself. and that I look forward to and that I'm passionate about and that I love is going on stage, going on the pole, doing pole tricks. That's, you know, what keeps me in it. The rest of it makes me feel so scared and weak and terrified. You know, the concept of trying to actually make money that way or make an income that way or survive financially that way, like, just no way. Like, it's brutal. It's beyond. So, but even if I don't go on the pole, again, going on the pole, that's my passion. That's the part of it that I love. Even if I were to not do that part, even just being in the club at all in the first place, is still me trying not to get injured the entire time. It's still me fighting off a panic attack the entire time. It's still me fighting through all of this repressed trauma, sexual trauma, and otherwise trauma from just my entire life, like the entire time that I'm there. But as far as the winter time, I just try to tell myself that it helps with the bugs. It helps with the bugs temporarily because I don't like bugs. Obviously, I guess they're just a part of nature and like another necessary evil that's like part of the whole cycle of life or whatever, the food chain, I don't know. But like they say, some bugs eat other bugs, or bugs need to be food for other animals that are part of the food chain that humans feed off of as well themselves, or I don't know, like stuff like that. Like, but I'm still scared and grossed out by bugs, okay? So I just trying to tell myself, hey, at least winter gets rid of some of the bugs temporarily, kind of, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm super excited to go have my salmon, to shower and have my salmon. Yes. Oh gosh, you guys. So I was saying in the video that I did from the club last night, at the club last night, I got salmon also yesterday before I went to the club and before I did that shift. And I put it in the club fridge in the kitchen, obviously. But so the club has like different types of fridges in the kitchen. They have one like smaller mini fridge that's supposed to be for like the staff, like for the dancers and the staff to share. But I swear I've like checked in there before. I don't put my stuff in there. If I very rarely like use any of the fridges in the club, but obviously in this, like in the winter, I don't have to, because in the winter, the apartment that I stay at, not having the heat on, in the wintertime, my apartment basically is one big fridge. So again, there is an upside to that. If I have food that needs to be kept cold, I can just leave it out in the apartment, or it's funny, I still lock it up in the fridge because I don't trust it to be out in the open where people can just go into the apartment and mess with it. Like, I've had stuff go missing from the apartment that I stay at. I've had stuff go missing from my car. My landlord creeps me out to, like, I could never put into words how creeped out I've been by him. So even though my fridge is off and no longer functions as a fridge is supposed to, as far as keeping stuff cold, I still keep my food in there so that I can lock it up and try to tell myself that it's less likely to be tampered with by whoever breaks into that apartment or goes into that apartment and messes with my stuff apparently when I'm not there. So I still put food in the fridge for that reason, but not to be kept cold like a fridge normally would be for, because again, the fridge is off to be used as a safe instead. But I mean, yeah, like food that would need to be kept cold, I can pretty much just leave it. In the winter, the entire apartment feels like a fridge. Yeah, so even though the fridge is off, it might as well be on because it's so damn cold in there at that point for all of those entire 7 months of winter here where I am. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I guess, sort of an upside of that when I want food to be kept cold. But in the summertime, sometimes I'll just use the fridges in the club. So, but I can't bring myself to use the staff fridge like we're supposed to, because I've tried to convince myself to do that before, and it's just so gross, you guys. Like, it's just so gross. It's smelly and it's like, oh. So what I do, I put, like, if I have salmon or yogurt or something like that, egg whites, something that because it's like, you know, it's hard for me to get groceries. Everything is difficult for me. It's like, I'm in a rush to get to the club. Then I work 10 hours straight. I get out after midnight. There's no grocery stores open where I am after midnight. So it's like, after that shift, I come back to the apartment, sleep for a little bit as best I can, then rush right back out to go do another shift. Where is the time for me to do grocery shopping? Or even if I do, there are times where I get to the grocery store before my shift at the club to do grocery shopping, but then it's like, anything that I get to be kept cold, I would pretty much have to put in the club fridge. Again, unless it's winter. If it's winter, I'll just leave it in my car. So that is another upside of winter, I guess. I can just, groceries that need to be kept cold or frozen, I'll just leave it in my car in the winter. But the summer, obviously I can't do that in the summer. So the summer, I put it in a different fridge in the club, not the staff fridge like I'm supposed to. I put it in like the beverage fridge, like the cooler for like the drinks and stuff. And so that's where I put my salmon last night. And it was in there, you know, like after I got to the club, obviously, like I put it in there. And then I did a little bit of my start of my shift at the club for a few hours. And then I came back out to do the video that I did from the club parking lot last night. I went out to do that video, I think around 8 o'clock. So I'm pretty sure the salmon would have still been in that cooler fridge for the beverages when I started my video at 8 o'clock. But that video was almost 2 hours long, I think. I think it was like an hour and 40 minutes or so. And I was like holding my breath about the salmon, right? And then when I got back into the club, sure enough, my salmon was out of that fridge. Luckily, at least it was still there. It's not like it went missing or anything, but I did remember I went right to the cooler to check on it, and not right away, actually. I mean, but shortly after I got back into the club after doing that video from the parking lot last night. So yeah, I checked that cooler, that beverage cooler, and I could tell right away that someone had been in there, like not messing with stuff, but there was a bunch more stacks of like 6-packs of like beers or like just cooler drinks, you know what I mean, for the club. So I knew right away that my salmon was probably moved, but I was hoping it would have at least been moved and kept in the fridge. But whoever moved all that stuff around to put the new drinks in, they left my salmon on top of the fridge, like on the roof of the fridge or whatever. So it wasn't in the fridge anymore, basically. It was like left out. So I was like, crap. And I was like, well, how long would it have been left out of the fridge like that? And then I was like, all right, well, the video that I did outside in the parking lot was like almost 2 hours. So I was trying to tell myself, no big deal. It couldn't have possibly been more than 2 hours. But even now, like, this video is 1 hour and my salmon's right here. I feel fine. I haven't had any digestive issues after having that salmon, like last night after my shift at the club. And obviously I put it right back into once I noticed that it was out of the fridge, I put it right back in it, you know, so I wanted to think it would be okay. And then yeah, after my shift, when I got back to the apartment, when I checked it, it looked okay, it smelled okay, and tasted okay when I cooked it. It was actually delicious. Like, oh my god, I love salmon so much. And I feel fine, so I think it was okay. But like right now, where is it right now? Where's my salmon? Oh, here it is. It still feels cold. That feels good. Well, I also have carrots with it too. I got lots of carrots. Oh, the carrots are nice and cold. Hopefully the carrots have been helping keep the salmon cold. But actually they were on other sides of the bag, which was stupid. I should have put this right next to the carrots. It was on the other side of the bag. Damn it. I'll put it next to it now. Okay. Not all. I got more carrots too. I got more carrots. You can never have too many carrots, basically. So the frozen yogurt I had at the store earlier was like mango flavored. So mango is basically like orangey. Carrots are orange. Salmon is orange. My top is orange. I really like orange foods, apparently. I think it'll be okay. It feels okay. You know what else I was thinking about? It really is a struggle though, because it's like when I had those frozen yogurt bars earlier, obviously anyone that would watch that video, I did actually end up calling that frozen yogurt video a mukbang because it was a box of 4 separately wrapped, individually wrapped frozen yogurt bars, and I had all 4 of them all at once. See? Excuse me. Case in point. But it's like, you know, I'll be honest, I love being able to do that, but there's a part of me, especially as I get older, where it's like, you know, maybe it would be more practical to just have one like a normal person. Or even just 2, but 1 really, like, but again, I don't have a refrigerator or a freezer for stuff like that. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? If I want to have a little treat like that, like, I'm not just gonna have 1 and then throw the rest away or just try to pawn them off to some random person. Like, they're too expensive for that for me. It's like, so I had actually almost thought lately about getting like a mini fridge but that's just like so annoying and so obnoxious. Like, I don't want to spend money on anything that I don't have to. So it's like, I'm not going to spend money to get a separate mini fridge when there's already a fridge here at this apartment that should be able to be used in a regular way as a fridge. If it weren't for like my landlord or whoever it is that comes into that apartment when I'm not here to mess with stuff and to freak me out. So it's like, yeah, it's really a pain in the ass and it's really obnoxious to me that I feel the need to not even be able to use that fridge in the way that it's intended to be used as a refrigerator or a freezer, you know, in the summertime to keep things cold and make ice and have nice, refreshing, summery iced drinks and stuff. Like, I'm using that fridge as a safe. And it's like, I'm not going to go spend money to get a mini refrigerator to keep things cold that way. And even if I were to do that, I would still need to get a separate electrical cord. I would feel the need to try to lock that mini fridge up because I wouldn't trust that being just left out unattended, unlocked. It would have to be locked. You know, I wouldn't feel safe otherwise. So it's like, and how would I lock a mini fridge? A mini fridge, it would be so much easier to just slide an electrical cord right off the top of it. You know what I mean? Like the bigger style fridge that's here in the apartment, the electrical cord is wrapped through the handle. I don't know. I guess maybe there could be a mini fridge that would have a handle like that, depending on the style. But most of the mini refrigerators that I've seen don't have a handle that comes out like that. The way that you open it, it's just like a door, like built into the side of the fridge itself, basically. How would I know this? Because I actually have had 2 mini refrigerators before. And just like the poles that I used to have, it's like, I can't ever have things that last, or like things that are investments that last a long time like they're supposed to, like especially when they're expensive and you put money into something like that. The first apartment that I moved to, okay, well, first, before I say that, remember how I was just saying how my mom moved to Florida without telling me? 2017. I had a pole, the first pole that I ever was able to get, I had a pole at that house that she moved out of without telling me. So in that bedroom that I used to have there, along with a whole bunch of stuff I used to have, all that stuff gone. I don't know where it went. She doesn't know where it went, apparently. I've asked her about it. She doesn't know. She didn't even come up with her husband to sell the house. She had him come up and do it himself. She stayed in Florida. Like literally when they moved, what she says is they just like drove down to Florida in the middle of the night and just left all their stuff. And then like weeks or months later, whatever it was, she sent her husband up by himself to like deal with all this stuff and just like sell it and get rid of it. So it's a mystery. It'll always apparently be a mystery to me what happened to that first pole that I spent so much money on. And it was such a difficult, long process for me to get that pole, because that's, you know, that's when I was first starting out. Like, it was a whole story that went with that. Like, I originally ordered it on my ex's card and he canceled it, and I ended up having to re-spend all the money. Like, it was a whole big thing. So I lost that first pole. Then the first apartment that I moved up to when I had roommates, back when I first started dancing, I had 2 separate new poles there. Lost those poles. I also had my first mini refrigerator. I purchased a mini refrigerator for that first apartment that I had with the roommates. Why? Because the roommates in that apartment were so disgusting. The kitchen, I never used the kitchen there because it was, again, beyond disgusting. I mean, disgusting. Like, I didn't even feel comfortable stepping foot into that kitchen. So I didn't. I didn't cook there. I didn't use the kitchen there. I tried to invest in my own little mini refrigerator that I had in my bedroom, in my own little separate bedroom apartment unit in that apartment. The apartment units in that building, it was like one shared unit with roommates, but each roommate had their own bedroom and each bedroom had its own separate lock. Thank gosh. So yeah, I mean, I was able to lock that up in the room, like because the room was locked. The fridge itself wasn't locked, but the room was locked. So I wanted to think that was okay, like enough back then. Anyways, I had 2 poles and my first mini fridge in that first apartment. Things were so bad there that I ended up having to move out of there. Very on the fly, spur of the moment, unplanned, unrehearsed, unplanned for, unprepared. I remember like having everything I could carry like in my hands in the street, waiting for my cab driver to pick me up. As much as I could carry of my stuff falling out of my hands into the street. The rest of it I had to just leave behind, including the 2 poles, my second and my third pole that I tried to invest in. Ended up losing those as well, and my first mini refrigerator, ended up losing that. That cab driver that picked me up in the street, I ended up having to go with all of my stuff falling out into the street like that. I ended up having to stay at his place for a while. He was nice enough to let me stay there for a little while. When I was there though, again, I didn't feel safe or comfortable like using his kitchen or like eating around him. So I also invested in a lock for the door. He installed a lock on the bedroom door that I was using. And I also purchased another second mini refrigerator. And I had it in the bedroom. So I was basically living off of like yogurts and I don't even remember what else. Chips, I don't know. I don't even know. I wasn't there for very long though. I think I was there maybe a month or 2. Yeah, it would have been, I think it was 2 months actually, November and December, because that was the end of 2015 that I was there with him for November and December. And then in January of 2016, that's when I moved out of there into the apartment here where I am now. So that was 10 years ago. And this is the longest that I've ever been in one place. And I shudder to think what would come after this. I really do. I'm just beyond terrified every single day, every single night I worry about this. I have a 4th pole here at this apartment, and I guess this probably will end up being the 4th pole that I'll end up losing and won't actually ever really be an investment. So I'm not going to get a 3rd mini refrigerator for here, you know. It's like because that second mini refrigerator that I had with the cab driver that I was staying with, I ended up just leaving that behind at his place, you know, because didn't have the space or the energy or the time to really move it with the rest of my stuff, whatever little stuff I had left at that point, you know. Gosh, it's all just been such a horrific mess. Like, so yeah, I'm pretty sure my mom must hate me, or she just has a very extremist approach when it comes to the whole tough love concept. Tough love? I don't know. More like tough shit, tough hate is what it feels like. As long as I live, you guys, however long it might be, I just could never put into words just the depths of despair that I feel. And I don't want to be dramatic or woe is me about it, but that's just the honest truth. Because even before all that, but especially after that, again, most of that was 10 years ago at least, more than 10 years ago, but at least 10 years ago, and then more too for most of that. There's been so much that's obviously happened from then till now, and it's like the progress that I want to think that I've made and all the other stuff that I've gone through and somehow been able to mostly get through. And it's like, for what though? Like, where would it go from here? I just can't even imagine. I'm just so scared. Just to think about how much I really have struggled and how scary it's been and how scared I always am. And then the future is the scariest of all. The scariest of all. I thought that was bad. I don't know. It's mind blowing to me. It really is. It's like, if I could just even have one family member, one person in my family, one person that I could turn to, like, just have any semblance of support, really, you know, like, just she would have been my only choice, like my only chance, my only hope. Like, there really isn't much else of my family. So it really sucks for her to hate me so much and just prefer to watch me suffer and struggle like this, knowing all the while that my future is apparently completely freaking hopeless, no matter how much I'm able to get through. No matter how much I've been able to get through so far, and now, for the time being still, so far, for the future to just look so unbelievably hopeless, like, and I guess that's just how she wants it. I don't know. I can't even imagine why else? Why else? She must have wanted it like this or like that, because why else would she have just neglected to teach me anything or to have things go the way that they did? To just move like that without saying anything. And to just, I just, Thank gosh for salmon. It's pretty much the reason I got up today. And to wish my grandma a happy birthday. I don't know. It's nice right now though. It doesn't feel too hot anymore. It was so hot earlier today. I'm still a little overly bloated from having four frozen yogurt bars in a row like that. It does. It's really a struggle. It's like, because I am a stripper. I'm usually trying to watch my weight and like diet and try to get in shape, and it's like, it's just that it's hard anyways already, obviously, but it's that much harder when, it's like I have all these things. Like I feel like I have to eat all of something all at once because I can't really keep it cold. Like I can't put stuff in the fridge or the freezer. So I can't just really have I don't know. It's just a mess. It's such a mess. People have asked me, I think I've had a couple people ask me in the comment section on my YouTube, and also one of the new managers at the club. I was talking to her recently, which I found out she's kind of a talker, it seems like. She's pretty friendly, pretty talkative, which I like, for the most part, yeah. I found out recently she is older than me. Excuse me. She has that look to her where I wasn't too sure when she first so she's the 6th manager at the club that I work at. Out of the other 5, I think only one of them is older than me, and the other 4 are all younger than me. So with this new 6th manager, she got promoted to manager very recently. And so when that happened, I started to wonder if she was older or younger than me, because she has that look to her where I felt like it could go either way. But when we were talking recently, I found out that she is older than me. I'm going to be 38 this year, and I think she said she's 42. Possibly 43, but I'm pretty sure she said she's 42. Or it might be 43. It's like earlier 40s. It's not 41, and I don't think it's 44, 42 or 43. Anyways, so, but because she's from Texas. Also, I don't think she's been living in the area where I'm from and where I've been dancing. I don't think she's been living like near the club, like for very long. So she was talking about how different it is being here compared to Texas, where she's from, and how the cost of living here, where I am, is ridiculous. And I was like, I was just telling her how I've never really lived anywhere else to compare, like to have comparison. And she was talking about how she would be able to get a house where she's from in Texas, like basically the price of a house like here where I'm from, she would be able to get like a mansion in Texas at that price. Whereas here, like it's like a complete dump at that same price point. Like just, like the bare minimum, like barely decent or barely acceptable like quality of house is just like beyond expensive here, yet alone the nicer houses and just everything else. Like the cost of living is very, very high where I'm from. And she was talking about that, and she started to ask me, about myself, and I ended up telling her like how I'm single and like no pets, no family, like I live alone. And she asked me what my rent was, and I told her, I started to get a little anxious, obviously, at this point, where I'm like trying to fight off a panic attack practically, because she's a club manager. So obviously being a club manager, I'm like scared of that. you know, "Oh, you're struggling financially? Well, why don't you come up with me to VIP with these VIP customers I have ready to go with you?" And I'm like, I mean, it's not really like that. Like, I don't think it's anything too, I just, the VIP where I'm at, the club that I'm at, you can see into the VIP rooms. I don't think anything too crazy goes on in there. Like, I really think it's fine in that way. It's just on a personal level. Again, I have a lot of sexual trauma, so I just don't like being in that close proximity to anyone, but especially like males. I mean, just anyone. Like, unless it's like a really, really hot female. I don't know, but or a really hot guy. I just don't like VIP for me personally. It's just, I don't know. I just get really kind of icky, like uncomfortable with it, you know? I don't look down on it. I think it's great for some people. And that's pretty much how the club stays alive. Like, I admire the dancers that are able to deal with it and able to do it because, again, that's such a big part of how the club makes money to like stay afloat. So I'm very thankful and in admiration of the dancers that are tough enough to be able to deal with that. But for me, it's just, especially the smells of people just makes me feel so sick. I just don't like the smells. I mean, I despise the smells. Like, the smells are the worst, almost pretty much not the worst part of that for me, but it's like very much towards the top of the list. Like, the sexual trauma and the just like gross feeling, but also the smells. Oh my God, the smells though. Oh God. Anyways, so, so, I was a little uncomfortable answering those questions, but whatever, I don't know. So basically, I ended up telling her how, you know what, when she first got promoted to manager though, I remember we had been having a different conversation back then. And I was like, because she was talking about how she really like the clubs in Texas where she's from. She's like, it's very cutthroat, very competitive. Like, she was saying how the club that we're at is like very chill in comparison. Whereas the clubs where she's from, it's like they have to make like quota, they have to make like high sales, and it's very competitive. And that's the only way that she would be able to make money and survive. And she was talking about how she's like very big on like VIP sales. And she even said that she would have VIP rooms like ready to go, like right at the front door. Like, with a customer, she could like sell VIP rooms to a customer right at the front door coming in before that customer had even had a chance to like select a dancer or like talk to any of the dancers. And when she said that, I really made a point to be like, to like tell her and let her know, like, oh yeah, like, I'm not your girl for that. Like, I am not a VIP dancer. Like, I mean, I will go in VIP occasionally, but it's definitely like at the bottom of my list of like what I want to do in the club. Like, I really try to avoid it. I don't like it. I really, really don't like it. Again, props to the people that can do it, but I just really don't like it. So I told her that, like, in the best way that I could. I was like, "Oh yeah, like, I'm not really big on VIP personally, but hey, if you ever need that stage covered, I am your girl for that. Like, I love to be on stage, and that's my thing. That's what I do." So I made a point to tell her that. So anyways, that was like a couple weeks, maybe like a month or so back, couple months ago for that conversation. But more recently, she was asking me, yeah, like about how things are for me and how like I'm single and I don't have a family and like everything's so expensive and that kind of stuff. And we got into the topic of like the cost of heating and stuff in the winter and how awful winter is. And I ended up telling her how I don't put the heat on in the apartment that I stay at. And she was like, "Well, how do the pipes not freeze?" And I'm pretty sure, yeah, people have kind of here and there made comments asking me about that too. Um, I guess one way that I lucked out with all this, with that kind of thing, is, thank gosh, the pipes in the apartment that I stay at are not on the outer perimeter of the building. Like they're not near the windows. They're set more inward to the apartment. Like they're set towards the core, towards the center of the building, basically. And they're all kind of condensed in the same area. So like the pipes for the shower and the pipes for the sink, there's like one thin wall in between them. So they're basically right next to each other. And then where the kitchen and sink and the bathroom and the shower are, that's also right next to the apartment next to mine. So the apartment right next to mine, I'm pretty sure their kitchen and their shower and their bathroom is, again, just like one wall over. So I'm pretty sure all of the piping, the water works and the plumbing and all of that, I'm pretty sure all of that is condensed together in the center of the building. So again, like away from the windows. I would just imagine, I would guess that that's pretty much the only way that the pipes, thank gosh, so far have not frozen. And also I am on an upper floor. I'm not on the ground floor. There's at least a couple apartments below mine. So I guess if the people below me probably have their heat on, I guess some of that would rise up to where I am, thank gosh. So, the thermostat, so yeah, I just did 4 winters without the heat on. The first 2 years, it said, even though the thermostat is broken, it's broken in the sense that it won't go to the setting that I put at the top of it. And once the breaker panel is on, like it normally would be, the heat will just go on and like of its own accord and not really stop. Like it'll just like go on to like climb to like 90 basically. Like it's really weird. But even after I shut the breaker panel off for that, the bottom part of the thermostat looks like it still reads the current temperature in the room. So, which is also really weird to me, but hey, whatever, I don't know. Nothing really makes sense to me, basically. So what it says though is that the first 2 years that I had the heat off, the temperature that it got down to in the apartment with the heat being off was about 60, 62, somewhere around there. Whereas that was the first 2 years. Whereas the latter 2 years, so this past winter and the winter before that, it was getting down more towards the 50-degree temperature or the 50-degree range. So again, I don't know how accurate that would be, or if that's more of like just me being messed with, or if the thermostat, if that part of the thermostat really would be working properly or functioning or accurate or anything. Again, I don't really trust anything. Everything just feels off to me. But regardless, the pipes seem to have been okay with all that so far. And I would guess, yeah, just because they're more towards the center, all condensed in that same center area of the building. So I guess that would be a word of advice that I would have for other people looking for houses or apartments, or people like maybe like in construction that possibly would build houses or apartments. That to me just makes a lot more sense and seems like a wise thing to have the layout of a house or apartment be like that, to have the plumbing and the pipes more towards the center, especially if you live in a brutally freezing cold climate like I do. Because yeah, like if the piping, I remember my mom's former house, before she lived, I think she's like in an old person condo now that she lives closer to my grandmother, but she did have a pretty nice house, back in like 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she moved to Florida in 2017. But before that, she had a pretty nice house. But I remember there, a lot of the plumbing was more towards the exterior, like the walls of the house, like more towards the outside and like more towards the windows. So other than that, it was a pretty nice house, but I just remember thinking how, like, just in comparison to like, you know, like where I'm at now in the apartment, and all of the plumbing seems to be like more towards the center of the building. It just seems wiser, more practical to me to have plumbing and piping be more towards the center of a building if you're in a freezing cold climate like I am. So yeah, I guess maybe that could be a word of advice that I could offer to people. I don't know. um because apparently that's probably one of the big things that's so far saved my ass as far as the plumbing, or as far as the pipes not freezing here with the heat off. Another thing is I would recommend, especially if you're in a freezing cold climate, maybe try not to have all your windows be on the west side of the building like mine are, because a big part of why it's really not even worth it for me, or it wouldn't be worth it for me to try to heat this place anymore these days, like, because it's a big open space and it doesn't hold the heat. And all of the windows they're on the west side, basically. There's 3 windows on the west side of the building. So they say that the wind usually blows from the west because of the way that the earth spins on its axis. The earth spins counterclockwise, I'm pretty sure. So with that, the wind usually is blowing from the west. So if your windows are on the west side of a building, you're going to be getting usually more often than not, you'll be getting the wind blowing directly into them, which I've found makes it a lot harder to keep a place insulated or well heated, or just to hold the heat if you were to heat a place or have the heat on. So that would be another word of advice I guess I could offer to people from all of this, and stuff that I've had to learn the hard way on my own. But at least I'd like to try to share that knowledge with others as best I can. Maybe that's something I could do a video about in the future, like little tidbits of advice I think I would offer other people. Something else just off the top of my head that comes to mind for females especially. I did already mention this in other videos, and I even mentioned this in the video that I did from the club parking lot last night, but I'm not on birth control, I'm not sexually active, and I haven't been for a very long time. However, back in 2014 and a little bit of 2015, mostly 2014, but yeah, a little bit of 2015 as well, I was slightly sexually active with a guy, but I also was not on birth control at that time either. I really don't like medications or like artificial stuff like that. It's nice to have the option, I guess. And yeah, I don't know, but I've just opted to not bother being on birth control for most of my adult life, just because I'm not sexually active now, and I haven't been for a very long time, but even back when I was, it wasn't really like a whole lot, or you know what I mean? So I just never really felt the need. But I did do a little bit of experimenting there back in 2014, mostly when I was sexually active there for a time. And what I found is it seems like the closer a female is to getting her period, like the further along in her cycle, the more you're like PMSing and noticing your PMS symptoms, I'm pretty sure the less likely you are to get pregnant. Because if you think about it, it's like, if you're feeling your PMS symptoms, like you're getting the cramps, you're getting the moodiness, basically there's indications there like, oh, my period is about to start. I'm clearly PMSing right now. The way that I would interpret that, it just seems like, okay, your ovulation point is probably past. Your ovulation is probably over, because how else would you be having those symptoms indicating that you're on your way to getting your period, if that makes sense? You know, because it's like you have your period, then it ends, then there's like a week, and then the week after that you're ovulating. And then that egg, when you're ovulating, it's capable of getting fertilized for like, what, 14 days after that or so? Or how many days is it exactly? Maybe a week? I actually don't remember off the top of my head. I don't know, Google it if you want to know, but but basically, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I did do like self-experiments with this to try to like get more of a feel for it. And I mean, again, I wasn't on birth control, but I never got pregnant back with that guy that I was sexually active with. And there were times that I could have gotten pregnant. If my theory was incorrect, the way that we were doing things at sometimes, and me not being on birth control, if my theory was incorrect, then I certainly could have gotten pregnant. But most of the time, I would specifically wait for the majority of what we did to be as close to my period as possible. Not on my period, but as close to it as possible. So like basically once I felt myself PMSing, I was like, okay, my ovulation egg has clearly died and passed on to where it didn't feel like it was capable of being fertilized any longer. Like the egg was already gone. So my period was on its way. I was like, okay, I should be okay for now. And then, you know, like because it was as close to my period starting as possible, after we had our little like fun time or whatever, not really fun for me, but you know, after we had like done whatever he wanted to do, the closer to my period I was, the less I would have to wait for my period to arrive, basically. So the less anxiety with that, like the less of a, you know what I mean? The less time like worrying and holding my breath about it. Like because it was already so close to my period anyways, it would be like just days or like a week away at that point, to where it wasn't like, you know what I mean, as stressful of a thing for me. So that's just something that I would like if I had a daughter, basically, like that's something that I would probably try to teach her about, that I was never taught myself, you know, by my mom or by any of the females in my family. Not that there are that many, like, so I can just say not by my mom or my grandmother. They're like the only females in my family that really exist. But I wasn't really taught that, like that specifically in that way. I wasn't really taught that in school or otherwise. It's just something that I kind of like learned along the way by myself, mostly by myself, with a little bit of, you know, other participation with that. And then another thing that I would recommend for females, if they want to like be in, like I don't want to ever have to rely on a guy or like be in a relationship. Like another big part of why I struggle is it's almost like my lack of being taught anything by my mother or my grandmother or anybody else in my family. It's almost like they just assumed that I would just get married and have like a normal life and be supported by a husband or something. But, or they just, I guess, didn't care one way or the other, like what happened to me. But like I personally would never want to have to be in a relationship, like to survive financially or otherwise. Like I would prefer, I guess in some ways I do think about it and like, oh, that might be nice. That must be so nice to just have somebody else to like lean on and rely on and like help with things. But, you know, like, I don't know. I feel very torn about it. I'm not really too sure how to feel about it. I guess I kind of can see both sides of it and I feel both ways. Like there's a part of me that really like wishes I could have that or allow myself to like, I feel like the world doesn't allow me to have that. Like I feel like I'm not allowed by the world to have that. Like it's like blocked off to me, like by whoever controls everything, like this like app that I'm stuck in, or like this computer simulation that I'm apparently stuck in. The powers that be, if you will, like God or the government or whatever it might be. I just feel like the world that won't allow me to even ever have that anyways. But I don't know if I would even, regardless, I don't know if I would even allow myself. You know what I mean? It's like, because yeah, there is a part of me that almost would want to allow myself that kind of thing. But then there's this other part of me that just feels like it's wiser and more practical to be able to do as much by myself as possible, even though that's so, the amount of stuff that I actually do feel able to do by myself is like basically nothing. Like I try to do as best I can by myself, but I don't actually feel able to really do anything by myself. Like I struggle with everything. Like I don't know how to do anything really. Like it's really scary. So yeah, but something that for females that would want to be in a relationship with a guy, I would recommend guys that have been in the military. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Sometimes they have weird mindsets from that, if they've been in combat or if they've like had a difficult, like witnessed like difficult things with that. But I don't know. Once they're out of that, they do get, well, it depends on how it goes, but I've met quite a few guys that from what they've told me, it just seems like there's a lot of benefits, like, post that thing, like, once they're out of the military, like, the guys at the club that I dance at, they get into the club for free, like, every time they come in, and, like, like, if you go, like, out different places, there's a lot of, like, military they other places seem to do that too, like, military discounts, and actually, the last guy that I was kind of, like, almost dating or, like, sexually active with back in 2014, he was in the military, and he was honorably discharged. So, basically, he was getting a pension from the government, like, every single month, like, they were paying his bills. So, I don't know, like, that can be debatable, like, how people wanna look at that, whether it I don't know, but and yeah, like, maybe some people that have been in those branches, especially if they've been in combat or had difficult times with that stuff, like, they could be kind of messed up from it probably or, like, to struggle with a lot of things. But apparently, from what I've heard, some people can get good benefits from it. I don't know, like and then, yeah, like, if somebody is honorably discharged, like, they get, like, a pension every single month, or what he told me is, like, if he got married and had kids, he would be getting a lot more from them every month for that. But he was already getting a pretty significant amount, I'm pretty sure. Like, he wasn't working, basically. Like, he that's why a lot of times, like, when stuff goes missing from my car or my apartment, I specifically make a point not to have contact with him anymore. But sometimes I do, like, worry about that and, like, because again, he was not working. So he had all this, like, free time on his hands basically, like, to just do whatever, I guess. Whereas for me, it's like I'm just constantly scrambling around, like, doing, like, trying to do as best I can with, like, a million different things, trying to do stuff by myself. But, he never seemed like he actually wanted to, like, get married to me or, like, start a family or anything like that. Like, he would kind of mention it almost in, like, a teasing kind of way. Like, it was weird. I got really weird vibes from it to where I'm assuming he probably just didn't see me as, like, wife or family material because of me being a stripper possibly, or I really don't know. Um, I did get really weird vibes there a lot of times. Um, and I don't actually think that he was in combat, but he made it sound like he had a lot of trauma and PTSD regardless, just from his time in the military, like but I remember I saw some of his paperwork one time, and in the paperwork that I saw, it did specifically say, like, his term served was, like, non-combat. So, I forget exactly what it said. This was a very long time ago, but basically the paperwork made it sound like he had not been in combat, and, like, I'm not too sure what he would have been doing or why he would have been so messed up from it, or I think he got his honorable discharge from, like, a chopper going down, and he got, like, a he actually said he had, like, a metal not a pacemaker, but he had some kind of, like, medical device, like, implanted in his chest, for his heart or something. It was really weird. I don't really remember the exact details, but I just remember he was getting a lot of money from the government every single month for that, and I don't know. That's not really, like, the best reason to marry someone just for that or, like but on the one hand, I think that way, like, oh, like, that's not a good reason to marry someone just for that, but on the other hand, these days, like, I don't know, like, jobs are just, like, so capricious, it feels like, and so just, like, unstable a lot of the time where it's, like, just up in the air, like, you never know, and so many jobs seem to be taken over by computers and technology, but it's like, this guy, I'm pretty sure, is gonna be getting a military pension, like, every month for the rest of his life. And again, that's just him being single, and then he said if he got married or had kids, he would be getting a lot more on top of that. So, I don't know, it was something I was thinking about. I was thinking at one point, like, maybe I should try to, like, get married to this guy, and, like, we probably could have had a pretty decent life together, at least financially, like, we probably would have been pretty well off. And I mean, think about it, like, he wasn't working. So if we had had kids, you know, like, he could have been a stay-at-home dad, or I mean, even me being a dancer, the club that I work at, I make my own hours. So I could have stayed home with the kids when I wanted to from time to time, or we probably could have made that work into a pretty decent lifestyle. Um, and I did consider it, I did think about it, you know? But again, just from the vibe that I got from him, he really didn't seem that interested in doing that with me. It kind of seemed like, yeah, just more of a tease, like more of like this thing that he would just mention just to like see my reaction, or like he didn't really, yeah, he just didn't really seem to actually want to go there with me or do that kind of thing. So, I mean, that's fine, I guess, but I do still think about it sometimes, you know, and like maybe I should have tried harder to like have more of a relationship with that guy, or but there was a lot of times he was pretty disrespectful to me, I felt like, and you know, it's like my mom and my grandmother have both been married 3 times, and I think their 3rd marriage seemed to be okay, like pretty good for them, but their first 2 marriages, from what I've heard from them, it just sounds like they were in abusive relationships, and, you know, I just so desperately don't want that for myself. I feel like I've already been in so many bad, kinda like borderline abusive situations with people. Even my own mom, at times, I have felt like looking back at our past and even thinking about some of the way that the current conversations that we have, even now to this day, will make me feel, and some of the stuff that she says or the way that she says it, sometimes I even feel like it's almost like a borderline abusive kind of vibe that I get from her. And yeah, like the main real big one relationship that I've had in my life was after high school. It was about 5 years. We broke up in 2012. You know, a lot of that, the time that we had together, felt a little bit almost kind of like an abusive relationship in some ways. Not physically so, but well, uh, not super physically, but mostly verbally and emotionally, mentally, I don't know. But just regardless, you know, just I feel like that word could apply there almost in some cases. Like sometimes it felt like. And then with that other guy in 2014, I wouldn't say that it was abusive necessarily, but I did feel very disrespected by him a lot of the time. And I just, yeah, I got weird kind of bad vibes from him a lot of the time, to where, you know, in the financial sense, in the practical sense, looking back at that, sometimes I have regrets about not trying to further my time with him, or not trying harder to be in more of a serious kind of relationship with him. But then, yeah, I also think about, I just so desperately don't want to be in a disrespectful or abusive kind of situation with anyone. So ever since then, especially, I've just really been strictly, completely single and suffered the consequences for it, you know? Tried to deal with the consequences of that and the struggles that come with that as best I can, but it really has been such a struggle, and it is such a struggle every single moment of every single day. Like, it's just it's ridiculous. But there's other guys that I've met that talk about the benefits they get from being in the military. And I don't know, it's interesting to me, because the whole world, especially America, like as a country, just seems to have so much admiration and respect for guys that, or for people that have served in the military. So, and like, you know, the benefits that come with that, like, seem to be like well deserved and just very fruitful, I guess. I don't know. Like, um, very abundant. Um, Actually, Pistachio, there's a floor host that works at the club that I work at that I personally call Pistachio. His actual name is Prescott. I mentioned him. He was also mentioned in my video last night. But yeah, my nickname for him is Pistachio, just for weird reasons. I don't know. But he was in the Navy, I think. So that was many years ago, I think, for him now. But he mentioned that to me a few times, like, talked about some of the benefits that he got from that. And he also made it sound like he was getting some kind of financial compensation for his time served for that, just like now and like I think possibly go forevermore, like going into the future. So I don't know. But for him, he said that he wasn't getting that much money. Like he said that it was like hardly enough at all to live on. Whereas the guy, so he probably, I'm assuming, didn't get honorably discharged because the guy that I was dating back in 2014, he had an honorable discharge to where he was like clearly like physically messed up from what had happened with the time he served. And also, from what he says, he also was like mentally messed up from it too. So yeah, for him, he sounded like he was getting a lot of money for that, like every single month, like basically for the rest of his life. Like it sounded like. So, but I mean, even with Pistachio, even though he said that like he's like his monthly allotment isn't like that much money, I mean, it's still something that he's getting. It's still something to help with the bills, still something to help with his financial situation, it sounds like. So, honestly, if I could go back, I don't know if I would have the option now that I'm almost 40. If I could go back though, maybe I would have considered or have wanted to consider joining the military myself. It's just for me, I don't like it's all very confusing to me because as far as like the combat versus non-combat option, like for most of my life I had always just assumed that being in the military meant that you were in combat automatically. But now that I'm a little older and I've like seen more movies, I guess, or like heard a little bit more through the grapevine, I'm kind of like, I feel like I've seen more depictions or heard a little bit more about like other options, like other parts of the military that like don't involve combat. Like even just like dispatch, like when you're on the radio, like talking to soldiers or like people that are in combat or something, or like people behind the scenes, like doing the computer stuff, or I don't know, but I haven't really looked into it very much because I also kind of just assume now that I'm so old that it's probably no longer really an option for me anyways. But, you know, again, if I could go back and I think if I had a little more knowledge, like to realize or consider the possibility that maybe like that kind of doing that kind of thing maybe might not necessarily always have to automatically mean being in a combat kind of situation. Just knowing a little bit more or hearing a little bit more now about the benefits that can come with being in the military, apparently, I don't know, maybe I would have considered that more as an option for myself because I'm a pretty free spirit for the most part, but when it comes to certain stuff or when I'm in a certain kind of headspace or mindset, I can actually be very, very disciplined, I'd like to think, or very, very strict with myself, very, very like I can almost kind of see myself in a boot camp kind of situation. Like, there's parts of me that totally can't whatsoever at all. Like, oh my gosh, no. And then there's also this part of me that almost kind of can. It's really weird. Like, I really am a very big mystery to myself. Like, so many things in the world are such a mystery to me. But even just me to myself, again, I am a mystery to myself. Like, there's so many things about myself that don't make sense to me, that I don't understand, that are just so conflicting and just two sides of me that seem to be so different from each other. You know, like just such a conundrum, such a contradiction. Like I'm there's this big part of me where it's like I'm such a rule breaker and I'm such a like free spirit where I just want to do things my way, do my thing my way on my time, like the way that I want to do it, like avoid strictness and rules as best I can. But then there's this other part of me. Again, it's like this certain side of me, this certain mindset that I get in sometimes where it's like I can be almost not the opposite of that, but just very different, like very strict with myself, very, very disciplined, very like to the book and wanting to do things exactly right, exactly how they're supposed to be done, like honor and tradition and just um trying to have strength of character and like do the right thing at all costs, like almost like the hero in a movie. Like most of the time, Like, I think the truest version of myself, or the biggest part of myself that I relate to the most, is more of like an anti-hero. Like, you know how like an anti-hero is like kind of more of like a rebel, or like more of like, yeah, a conundrum or a contradiction in a lot of ways, it seems like, from what I've heard about that and what I've read about that. But then there's this part of me that wants to be like the actual hero, like so disciplined and like as close to good and like perfect. I'm like the furthest thing from perfect, but there, like, if I really feel like I had more of a choice or more control over myself, more self-discipline, more self-control, um if I could have choose my genetics more, like not more, but at all, like my parents chose my genetics apparently, or you know what I mean? Like if I could really felt like I had more self-control or more self-choice or whatever it would be, there's this part of me where it's like I would just want to be perfect if I could. You know, of course. Why wouldn't I want to be perfect? Like, but it's just so impossible. It's so impossible that then this other bigger part of me is just like, to hell with it. Why even bother if it's so impossible anyways? Especially for someone like me that's just such a completely imperfect, complete mess. You know, just like, again, pretty much the furthest thing from perfect. Like, it's impossible, so why bother? So I just go the other way with it then, and just embrace my mess almost, or just embrace that more of like anti-hero kind of part of myself that's just more of a wildflower, or like a just wild card, free spirit, kind of just doing my own thing my own way. I don't know, but I mean, like, me embracing that other side of myself that's more of a free spirit wild card, that's gotten me into a lot of bad places, a lot of bad situations, a lot of, you know, and it's like, look at me now, like, that hasn't really done very well for me. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be trusted to my own devices. I can't be trusted to make my own choices. Like, I feel like I've pretty much been left to my own devices, and, you know, like, just see how it goes, see where it goes, see where it gets you. Like, just as like, I don't know, an experiment on my mother's part, or an experiment on the government's part, or an experiment on God's part, or my part, or who knows, all of the above, none of the above, a combination, I have no idea. But it's like, all right, well, let's just see what happens, me left to my own devices all this time. Yeah, I'm still standing, I'm still dancing, I'm still moving and grooving, I guess, for the most part, still kind of like able to feed myself and walk and talk and sing and dance and pay my bills. But it's like, that's just the surface level, I guess, of surviving. Am I surviving? Kind of, barely. I guess I technically kind of am. But it's an excruciating, unbelievably excruciating struggle for me. Like, I am struggling a lot, like pretty badly, and terrified every single day. So many unaddressed issues, undiagnosed conditions, I feel like. And am I thriving? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Very, very far from that. So, yeah, it's pretty scary. I mean, yeah, I've been left to my own devices, and it's like, where that's gotten me isn't a very promising thing. It doesn't look very good, doesn't feel very good, really, for the most part. Again, I'm proud of myself for what I've been able to mostly get through, and I'm kind of I'm also kind of proud of myself in some ways, to some extent. I'm at least somewhat proud of myself for where I'm at now, just in the sense of still being able right now to pay my bills and keep a roof over my head. And again, this apartment, it's the longest I've ever been in one place. And I've been here on my own, single the entire time, like doing this all by myself for at least 10 years. I mean, well, I've been single for over 10 years. I've been at this apartment in particular for 10 years. So yeah, I mean, just a lot of this all by myself. All of it's been, yeah, I mean, it's been just me doing this. Like, So in that sense, yeah, I am proud of myself, but it's especially the future that it's the future that really gets me. That's what's just like the looming doom, gloom, terror of just the most unimaginable, unbelievable, just fear and dread and terror. Like, I could never express, never put into words how much I fear and dread the future. Just, anyways, it's getting dark and I want to go have my salmon and my carrots. One other thing that I want to try to remember to mention though, I know in the video that I did earlier today when I did my frozen yogurt mukbang, so I turned around in that video towards the end, and I was actually doing that because where I got this blue raspberry built puff bar, I remember I saw this more towards the front of the store. So that would be the same general area as where I was having the frozen yogurt doing that video. But with this, there was, oh my God, I can actually smell this through the wrapper. I hope the wrapper's not leaking or like broken because I can smell this very strongly through the wrapper. And it smells really good. So I don't see any cracks in the wrapper. It doesn't look like it's broken. Because I usually try to check for that too. Like when I get things at the store, I'm always like checking the wrappers to make sure they're like not like open or cracked or like that, to try to see if they're in okay condition. Like, but anyways, that smells really good. So, but yeah, there was the peach flavor of this bar next to this one. Oh my God, I can smell so good. I have to put it down. It smells so strong. So I wanted to show, I turned around towards the end of that yogurt mukbang because I wanted to try to go run real quick and grab the peach flavor and just show the peach flavor on camera. I wanted to show the peach flavor on camera because the frozen yogurt bars that I was having were mango flavor. So I thought the peach flavor bar would look good next to the mango flavored yogurt bars. The peach flavored protein bar, I wanted to think would look good next to the mango flavored yogurt bars. But I guess when I was turning around to look for that, I guess the bars, the display where I saw them, it was actually a little bit further out into the store. I originally remembered or thought they were like right near the front entrance, but I guess they were like a little bit further out. So I didn't want to have to like walk too much further back like into the store to find it, like with the camera still going, like with the video still rolling. But when I turned around to look for them, I haven't watched that entire video back yet. I mean, I think it was only like 20 minutes or so, but I did scroll to the end of the video just to see the end of it because, again, I was mostly turning around to look for the protein bar for the peach flavor. But as I was doing that, I kind of started to think in my head, oh, this might actually be like a good or a bad thing for me to be doing on camera, because I wanted to kind of see what the back of my wig looked like. I guess obviously I could do that with a handheld mirror, like how you can do that with like 2 mirrors sometimes, but I don't know, it's not really easy for me to do that. I do have a small handheld mirror in my bag with me, but it's very small and it's very difficult for me to get to because there's so much other stuff on top of it in my bag. Like, it's damn near impossible. It's very difficult for me to get to pretty much anything in my bag. For me to get to anything in my backpack, I pretty much have to dig through all the other stuff like on top of it. You know what I mean? Like towards the top. To get to anything underneath the first top layer, there's so many, like, there's just so much stuff in here. So I have to like take everything out to get to anything underneath. You know. So it's ridiculous, like so many things for me. Oh my gosh, I'm very heavy. Wow, just picking it up makes me so tired. Can you hear the birds? Anyway, because lately, the reason I wanted to see the back of my wig is because, oh, it's 8:30. It's 8:30 on the dot. Ding. The reason I wanted to see the back of my wig is because lately, now that it's been getting so hot, and today was so hot, I'm wearing just the one wig, where normally, like, before, all through the winter, and for a while there, I was wearing 2 wigs. So with just wearing this one wig like I am now, this wig is very old and very sparse. I mean, all of my wigs are most of my wigs are yeah, all of my wigs are pretty old. It's just very sparse, and I can kind of feel the wefting in the back. I'm just, like, really anxious, like, my bald head underneath is, like, showing through, and you guys, in the video, it looks like it is. Like, I don't know, I'm assuming that's what I saw, but I mean, I guess it's fine, whatever, because I've talked about showing my bald head on camera, like, in a video. Like, I've talked about doing that already, so it's not, like, a big secret or anything, but I really wanted to think, I was really hoping that this wig did not actually literally show my bald head through the open, like, through the spots, like, through the wefting back here. But I swear, when I was able to glimpse a little bit of the end of that video earlier, I'm pretty sure I saw, like, my bald head showing through this wig. So that's really embarrassing. Like, look how sparse it is. It's like, it's just because I've yanked brushes through it so many times, like, it's pretty bad. And obviously, yes, I know this is a mess. It's so hot today, and I just was in a rush as usual to get out and try to accomplish anything today. So I just don't really feel like I have the time, or like, to deal with this right now. Like, it's impossible anyways. Like, even if I were to brush it or try to make it look better, it doesn't really end up doing that much usually. So anyway, that's really embarrassing though, because it's like, so apparently I'm just going out in public with my bald head showing through my wig in the back now. But not only that, like, that's one thing for it to be showing, like, in a regular day like this, like, in public that way in a grocery store. But what about the club? Because the lighting in the club lights are like X-ray, like UV, ultraviolet laser beams. When a dancer's on stage, especially at the club, like pretty much anywhere in the club, but especially on stage, like, you can see, like, their entire body. Like, you can't just see, like, their skin and their flesh. You can literally see, like, their bones. You can see their veins. You can see their blood circulating. You can see their heart beating. You can see their pulse points all over their bodies. You can see their entire muscular and skeletal structures. You can see every single aspect of their anatomy. Again, it's not just like their tits and their ass, or like the rest of their just like fleshy bits. It's like their entire being, their entire selves. You can see into their mind, body, and soul that way. But I guess that part just gets brushed aside because who cares about that stuff? But it's like, except for the body part, of course. That's the one we care about. But it's like, no, like, you can literally see everything, like, everything. The lights there are insane, like, supernatural, just absolutely insane. Like, so I can only imagine, I'm assuming now that, I guess, being at the club, just wearing this one wig, I'm assuming they can just see my entire bald head through my wig then, apparently, is what it's feeling like now. Which is not good, because it's one thing for me to show you guys on my YouTube and to talk about it that way, but I would never be willing to show that on purpose at the club. Like, are you kidding me? Like, for no amount of money would I do that, or, like, no. I would never do that at the club. So yeah, that's super concerning to me. I guess luckily I haven't been wearing this one wig for very long. I've only been wearing the one wig now for like maybe a week or so, maybe a couple weeks tops. So, but it's like, it's so hot. Oh well, I still have my other wig. My second wig I still keep on hand. So I'll just have to remember to put that on right away when I get to the club from now on, because damn. But even just going out in public like this, I guess I'll just wear a hat. Like, I can just wear like one of these, but it's so hot. it's hot to where I'm just like, I'm just gonna take the wig off and just go bald at this point, because it's like, it's just too hot. And again, it's so insane. It feels so insane for me to ever, for it being too hot to ever even be within the realm of possibility for me, when I have been in this apartment with the heat off for 4 winters in a row, freezing, like the most unbearable freezing cold pain, like nonstop. It's like, it's just, yeah, existence is torture, let's be honest. I don't know about other people, but for me, that's pretty much what it feels like. I don't know. I still got a lot of stuff to work on. Clearly. You know what else I want to just mention? This has happened before in the past, but it's happening more lately. It happened to me today, and it literally happened to me yesterday as well. So 2 days in a row. And then I'm pretty sure recently too. So yeah, there's 2 main grocery stores that I go to. The first one is a self-checkout. So with that, like especially, there's like these big cameras that you're on. So I just try to like be good when I'm doing that, and it's like, okay, whatever. Like, I used to have a problem with shoplifting in my 20s, like my early 20s mostly. So, and I went to jail for that in 2009. So again, a very long time ago, but it's always stuck with me. Like, I can't ever afford to mess up like that again, you know, and I'm trying to like I'm trying to evolve and like be a better person and like be more honest that way. And I don't know, it's just bad. I don't want to do bad stuff like that. Like, but the other grocery store that I go to, the second or the other one, there's no self-checkouts there. So I would want to think like with that one, it would be a little easier for me because there's like no option to like really steal stuff, or like, you know what I mean? Like there's no self-checkout, so there's less temptation, I guess. You know what I mean with that? But at that store, it's actually harder. It's getting harder at that store because yesterday and today, and many times in the past, it's so weird, you guys, because I'll have my groceries, I'll bring them to the person checking me out, and I'll have like, I don't know, it's so weird. They'll ring up one thing, and then I will clearly have other items in my hand in front of them. Not like concealed in a bag, mind you. Well, some stuff is in a bag, maybe sometimes, but the times that I'm referring to mostly right now, like I will have multiple items in front of them, not in a bag, not concealed anywhere, like in my hands where they can see them, and they're not like ringing them up or charging me for them. And I'm like, I just don't understand what's going on. I can only assume, I have to force myself to just assume that it's like entrapment, or they're just trying to like, there's like cops behind the scenes, like watching me on camera, like they're just testing me just to see. Like, I have to just assume that it's that, because it's like, how else are they gonna not notice that I have these other items right there in my hands, right in front of their faces like that? Like, but they'll literally ring up like the one item, like literally today. It was what I purchased. Again, these drinks that I got, where are they? Where did I put my drinks? Where are my drinks? Oh, are they in here? These 2 drinks that I got, they were $3.50 each. So together they were $7. And that was on sale. They were being advertised as on sale for that. These drinks I was not run up for originally. And what else? So altogether, with the stuff that I got there at that store, it came to $20. But that was it came to $20 after I was like honest, or like forced myself to be honest, and like had them ring up the rest of my stuff. That was like the drinks, they didn't ring me up for at first. The drinks were in a bag. So the drinks were in a bag, but I had this protein bar and this protein bar. I had another protein bar here as well. These were in my hand in front of their face. These they did not originally ring me up for. And there was other stuff. There was a whole bunch of other stuff they didn't ring me up for either. That was either like in another bag or like in my hands or whatever it was. Basically, Yeah, the total of the stuff that I got, it was actually just a few little items, but they were, again, like, expensive items, like, just everything's just so expensive. So the few items that I got altogether came to $20. But when they first rung me up, my total came to 250 or something. They charged me for, like, one thing, and then it's like I had the drinks were in a bag, but then I had all this stuff in my hands, and I was like, "Do you guys understand for somebody that barely has an income how hard it is to, like, be honest and tell them to just ring you up for the rest of it?" Like, and I have to, like, really get creative with this. I have to really, like, use my imagination and, like, force myself to think of this in certain ways. Like, well, if I didn't have them ring me up for it, I would obviously feel guilty and feel bad. And, you know, what if there are cops, like, behind the scenes, like, watching me on camera, just like this is like a hidden camera show, or not even a hidden camera show, but just a hidden camera entrapment situation, or like that kind of thing. But then also it's like, well, I like these products, and if I didn't pay for them, then the company that makes them would lose money, and then they might not be able to make their product anymore. And if it's like, if I like this product, I want this product to still be able to exist into the future and, like, still be able to be produced, and I want to still be able to have it available to me. So, you know, the the less money that the company makes for it, the less likely they are to be able to keep making that product. Or I don't know, like, I have to try to think about things this way, like, now getting older, especially as an adult and stuff. But it's like, as somebody that struggles as much as I do financially and, like, barely having an income, it is so, because to me also, it's like I can just, to me, that's not stealing. Like, that's not shoplifting, because I didn't do that on purpose. That's just the person at the cashier's register, just, like, being careless. Or maybe they're just trying to be nice. Like, maybe they're really just, like, somebody like my age or my peers, or, like, whatever it might be. Like, they're just trying to, like, give me a break or just be nice. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they saw my bald head. Maybe they saw my bald head through my wig, and they're like, "Oh, this lady is clearly struggling. Maybe I can just be nice and not ring her up for the rest of this." Like, you know what I mean? So how do I look at that? How do I look at that? Because that's not me trying to shoplift. That's not me shoplifting. But if I were to not be honest and not say the rest of the stuff that I have, how bad of that of a thing is it on my part? I know it's still bad, but it's like, how bad? Like, I don't know. It's like, can I excuse that for myself or not? Because I'll be honest, in the past, there have been times that I've excused it, and just like for little things, mostly. But, well, yeah, but it's like, especially when that happens 2 days in a row. Because I'll be honest, I have regrets yesterday. That happened to me yesterday at the store. And same thing yesterday. I was honest and I told them. I took out the rest of what I had, which I think even then there was, like, stuff in my hands already in front of them. It's not like I had to, like, take the stuff out of my bag and reveal this stuff to them for them to ring the rest of it up. The rest of it, most of the rest of it, maybe some of it, but most of the rest of it was already in my hands, right in front of their face. So, again, I was honest both days. I was honest today and yesterday. But yesterday, when I did that, like, today, I still have regrets a little bit about being honest like that, because it cost me so much more money. I could have had a $2.50 grocery bill today, and instead it was 20. And that was just the one store. I went to 2 stores today. The second store came to $15. And between the two, that was all of the cash that I had set aside for I was digging into my change purse, like, the total so that was the first store, that was $20. The second store came to $15.84. I remember $15.84, the exact numbers. And I was literally digging into my change purse in the second store, because at that point, I had exactly $15 left and set aside for the second store. But my total came to $15.84, so I had the 15 was gone, so that I'm digging into my change purse for the 84 cents. And now I like to have change on hand. Like, I like physical cash money, so it's like I'm digging into my change purse to get the 84 cents, and now I have no change left in my change purse practically. And it's like, you know, that was all of it. That was all of my little extra fun money set aside to get my groceries. And it's like, now that's gone. And soon the groceries too will be gone. And I'll just have to get more and more and more and more. It is so, I just, you know, and it's like I'm gonna, this is the thing. I am going to have regrets. I am going to beat myself up about it either way. If I was dishonest and if I didn't say the rest of what I have to the cashier to ring me up for all of it, then I would obviously feel very, very guilty about that and very like nervous and scared, like going back into that store. And like, what if, you know, the cops are watching? Someone's always watching, the government, God, whoever, both, everyone's they're always watching. So it's like, you know, so I would, of course, beat myself up if I were not honest about that. But even if I am honest, even if I try to do the right thing, like I was today and yesterday, and like I usually am with that, because again, that's happened in the past too. So most of the time I have been honest about it. So it's like, but even if I am honest about it like that, I still beat myself up about that too. It's not that I feel guilty about it, but that I still feel regretful. I still have regret. It's like I'm going to feel regret either way. I regret if I am not honest and I feel guilty, but even if I'm honest, like I usually am, I still regret it. And even though I don't feel guilty, the feeling of regret is almost that much more. The feeling of the regret is more, to the point that it's just as much as the guilty feeling, if not more, because there's so much more regret. Because then it's like, you know, that's money that I could have kept or just put to whatever else I need all the time, that I have no help for in any way, shape, or form. So the regret is there no matter what. The feelings of confusion and just frustration and apprehension and impossibility are there no matter what. And constant financial agony, just like so much stress. Like I will never figure this out. I will never fix this. I feel like it's just going to get worse. It feels like again, going into the future, this is so impossible for me. Why did my parents hate me and not care about me so much to just let me suffer like this? Why couldn't there be anyone in my family to help with anything? Like, I don't want to go back to that, but that's truly how I feel, and I don't understand it. Whatever. What else can I say? What else can I do right now? My phone battery is almost gone. It's clearly dark out, and this video is, well, it says that this video is 143 minutes, aka, holy crap. Is that over 2 hours? 60 and 60 is 120. So yeah, holy crap. I can't even do that math right now. I'm also bad at math, which makes this that much harder. Oh my God, you guys. Two hours and 24, almost 2 hours and 25 minutes, I think. I don't know, something like that. Over 2 hours. It's definitely over 2 hours. So I am going to wrap this up. I'm gonna go have my carrots and my salmon and try to make myself feel better that way, temporarily, of course, but still. For a time. And anyway, happy Friday. It is Friday night, so let's all try our best to be in a good mood. As best we can, right? Yes, happy Friday to you guys, and also happy birthday to my grandma, who I love very much. So much. Oh my gosh. She's 83 today, I think. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it's 83. Oh gosh. Well, she was born in 43. She was born in 1943. So do the math yourself if you really want to, but yeah, I'm pretty sure she's 43 today. Or not, pretty sure she's 83 today. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, again, happy Friday to you guys. I hope you guys are well. Thank you for watching. It says that I have 20 viewers right now, but I kind of slightly remember that towards the start of this stream, at one point, it said that I had over 100 viewers at some points. And then as I kept talking about more and more ridiculous, boring things, the number just kind of steadily kept climbing down. So, and now it says 17, which is, other than the number 1, I think 17, the number 1 pisses me off most of all. 17 pisses me off too, like secondly, I think the most, because I was 17 when a lot of bad shit went down for me. And I think that was like the big start of most of my, not all, but a lot of my, probably the majority of my disastrous, horrific problems into adulthood. Definitely started at 17. Again, not all of them, but a lot of this crap really just started with that at that age. Well, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I can't get into that too much or like explain too much what I mean with that right now, because again, I want to wrap this up for now. I've talked about that in other videos, but I don't know. Maybe AI could try to help me find it someday if I really want to know which ones and where. I need like an AI map for my videos because a lot of them really are so long and just so all over the place. And you know what? That brings me back to reminding myself, I do want to do that sometime soon. I want to just do a quick little 5 or 10 minute video just talking about having a squirrel reaction montage over and over and over until AI finally gets it and can do that for me. So that would be so awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up for now, but hopefully I'll be able to come back on again next week sometime. And I do have some new treats that will be exciting for me to try, hopefully on camera with you guys in the video next week. So until then, I hope you guys are well, and happy Friday, and have a great night, and peace out for now. Good night for now, guys. Okay, if I go for 2 more minutes, it'll be exactly 2.5 hours, I'm pretty sure. Right? I'm so bad at math. Let me just think again real quick. It'll take me the entire rest of the 2 minutes to figure this out mathematically, so just give me a moment here. Give me another couple of moments, apparently. All right, let me think. So it's 148 minutes right now. As I just sit here in silence. Well, I'm thinking silently to myself. I'm like, well, I'm thinking, even after I end a video, the timestamp that I see while I'm doing a video, usually the timestamp that the video ends up with later on, after it's fully processed and uploaded to my channel, usually that second timestamp will be slightly shorter, I think, than the original timestamp that I see like now live while I'm like doing the videos live like I am now. So yeah, it usually seems like some, like maybe however many seconds to a minute or whatever is like, I don't know if like cut off would be the term, but I think because of like the choppier staticky parts, I think that like makes the video a little bit shorter once it's fully processed or something like that. I don't know. But what was I gonna say? I think that was it. And then I'm just gonna keep rambling, mumbling about nothing for another minute or so because I want to get a nice round number. Guys, my OCD is so bad when it comes to many things, but numbers especially too. Like, okay, it says 150. It says on my end right now, while I'm doing this live, it says that I just went over the 150 minutes mark. So that would be 2.5 hours, I'm pretty sure. So I'm just gonna take a moment of silence for all of this bullshit, to just like give it a few extra seconds. I want to try to make this exactly 2.5 hours. Can we do it? Or yeah, I want it to be a nice round number like that. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. Why not just go for the round number when it's so close? You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh. Well, I will also say I'm really glad that I did this video with you guys, or I want to think if it assuming that if it does post properly, I will be glad that I did this with you guys. Because it was really driving me nuts not feeling able to talk earlier when I did my frozen yogurt mukbang. Like, I was loving that frozen yogurt so much. It was so good. I was like in heaven with that. Mostly, I mean, I was really like anxious and distracted by the stuff, like, you know, being in public and the background stuff, obviously, like I normally would be, or like always would be, always am. But the frozen yogurt was just overriding all of that, honestly. The frozen yogurt is so good. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10 stars. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10 for sure. But yeah, it was driving me nuts. Like, I had stuff that I wanted to say, like I just didn't feel able to like talk with that setting, like in that setting, you know? So now it's 8:56 as far as the time. So now it's like, should I keep talking for 4 more minutes to end this at exactly 9 o'clock? But the answer, oh, now it's 8:57. Now it's 8:57. So I have less than 3 minutes until it's 9 o'clock on the dot, ding. And then that'll be a nice round number there that I could go for. However, I'm not going to do that to you guys or myself. Like, this is enough, obviously. Like, this should be, and then that brings me back to this other thing that I'm always worried about. Like, well, I don't even know if this video is going to post properly. What if this video doesn't even post properly? So that's always a big concern for me. Sorry, I just wanted to see what that would look like. I just wanted to see if it would show up in the camera, or if it's like too dark in my car to like show. Anyway. Gonna roll up my window before I forget that. Okay, got my keys. Good night, you guys. I'm super glad I got to do this. As long as the video posts okay, I will be super glad that I was able to do this with you guys tonight. And hopefully I will see you again next week. So until then, good night for now. Happy Friday. In case you can't see, I'm like waving somewhere in here. Good night. Good night for now.